What's up, everybody? So welcome. This is my quick gap video. Typically, I get a lot of questions about gaps, and really, it's really easy. It's one of the simplest methods, in my opinion, of trading. It's one of the first methods I learned before I even learned about the strat. It was pretty much pre-market break, gap fills, and gap and goes. So that's what I'm gonna talk about. Make it real simple for everybody. The first ticker we're going to start off with is IBM. We played IBM yesterday. A lot of people say, what you seen? What you seen? So the gray area, for anybody that's new, this is TOS. The gray area is the pre-market. The black area is during market hours, regular market hours. So what I like to do before I even come to the pre-market, I like to do something called full time frame analysis. What that means is I'm starting from the macro time frames, which means the higher time frames, and then I'm coming down to the lower time frame. So with IBM, I seen that we gapped up. So obviously this is the weekly time frame. It wasn't over the week at this point, but I'm identifying. So the reason why I'm doing the macro levels is I'm identifying any major areas we might have to get over. Shout out to Sassy. She mentioned an area that I didn't see, and it was all the way on the yearly, and it happened to be a 151.63. And the reason why we say go to the macros, again, you could have major areas where price might have reject, and you want to know about that. So this is the reason why before any strategy, anything I do, I start off with the macro time frame. I didn't go this far back, but luckily she did, and she spotted this area. So I'm just going to delete this line right here. So 153.21, you see that it was the high of the year of 2022. That was the high of 2022 of IBM, and we was coming towards that area. And there was another one right here, the high of 2020, and y'all can see 151.63. If you understand the anatomy of a candlestick, we opened up here, came all the way down, came all the way back up. We hit that same $151.63. That was 2020's high. And we came right back down. So let's go down to the lower time frame just to see that. What happened? Right to target, right back down. Doesn't get more simpler than that. Now let's talk about the gap and go. So just rewind. I show people why I do multi-time frame analysis. The year, the quarter. You'll see the areas of where price reversed at. This is no secret that price reversed at this area. Once again, it's been doing it for a long time. Price has memory. Come down to that month. It's going to show you even clearer. So fast forward, once that's done, once you know the areas of where price can reverse, your targets, etc., I come down and I love the 30. The 30, for some reason, I just like how the candlestick structure on the 30. That's why I come down to the 30. And there's three types of gap breaks. You got gap and goes. You got some gaps that might be more structured. I'm going to show examples of that, and I'm going to show y'all some that didn't work. So this is an example of a gap and go. And simply, let's say the market didn't open yet. All I'm looking for is a break above pre-market high. So it gapped up. Pre-market high is 140, that 148.23. In this case, this just went. Nothing special. It just gap and go. That's what a gap and go means. It just went. How could you get on that on a smaller time frame? Well, unfortunately for this trade, it just flew. You see the 5-minute structure. It just blew out the water. I actually missed the alert. I had the alert right above pre-market high. I missed that alert, and next thing you know, I seen it around here. Had a nice green bar. It was holding up in comparison to the rest of the market. IBM was just super strong, super bullish. I just hopped in. Just that I'm up 400% by noon. Another example of a gap and go, we got NEO to the downside. NEO was called, I believe, Monday or Tuesday by me. And again, reviewing macro structures, I understood that NEO needed to break this chop that it was in, just keep it real simple. So y'all see the gap. So we gap down. I'm going to go to the 30. And here's that gap. So now, this is another example of a gap and go. So it was structured at first, and then it started to leak down even more. Simply put, don't complicate this. puts below pre-market low. The absolute pre-market low in this case was $9.51. If you understand the anatomy of a candlestick, red candles open up at the top and close at the bottom. This means that it opened up, came down. Soon as it broke below pre-market low, that was my trigger. That was my entry. I hopped in. This one printed for another bag. As you can see, it went from $9.51 all the way to $8.58. I believe I had gotten this one late also around the TTO back to the downside. And again, if you understand TTOs, you go on an hour, you know, look for your entry there. Just to add this in the gap video, this was an entry for you right there. So if you're paying attention, I'm gonna add this in. If you're paying attention to a certain stock and you missed the initial entry, you want to go to the hour, you want to go to the 30, sometimes the 15, depending on how fast it's moving. But the hour and the 30 is my main tool. And you see, it's created a 2-1-2 back down. If you understand TTOs, that was a TTO back down. TTO back to the downside. This printed another, this was actually better than the open print from pre-market low. This printed another 200-something%. Right? So that's how you want to deal with that if you miss the move. But just to keep it on gaps, it was just that simple. Break below pre-market low, that was the entry. Let's talk about some structured entries. We're gonna go to Futu. So Futu, this was called today. To give a background on Futu, I knew that this was going to break structure just like Neo did. Neo was to the side. It was very sideways. Like I say, consolidation creates opportunity. We know that this is going to break above or below at a fast pace sooner or later. Let's go to Neo. Let's go back to Neo just to show you what I mean. Neo had that same sideways action, but in this case, this one gap down. So I was looking for that same move out of Futu, which happened today. And luckily, the market was bearish, so we went up bearish. So again, I like that 30 after viewing all the macro time frames to see where you at, see your targets. Come down to this 30. The 30 has good structure for me. Again, now this could easily pop back to the upside. So I have no bias with gaps. Again, no bias. Go up or down, I don't care. I just want to identify where price could get hung up at, and that's where I know where to potentially take my profits. That might take a little bit of practice. That requires some screen time and understanding the charts. But simply put, this could have been easily closed above 58.49 and puts below 58.18. Obviously, we want this to continue in confluence with the stock. So this is going down. Market is bearish, so you want that to go down. We want in favor to go down. But again, no bias. And that's what happened. We opened up right here. Had my alert at $58.18. As soon as it, typically I don't like play. Some risk is higher than others. Again, gaps is just one thing I use. That's one thing in my toolbox. I don't depend on gaps. Add this to your toolbox, you can. If you want to know how to play a gap, if you see a nice gap play, or you see something sizing up in the pre-market, this is how you play it. You use the pre-market. I know they got names for it now. They call it the orb, whatever. But again, I've been playing this before it had any name to it. Just the pre-market information. Again, this broke below 58.18. It's dumb. I don't know for how much, but I know it's for a nice bag. And if you even look at the 5, this went straight through. Right. So I'm gonna be quick. So if you're comfortable with these gaps, this is how you catch them. I'm gonna go to another one that had a structure. That was FDX off today, which I got this one for 60%. Now I look ugly right now, but let me just back it up. You see, I still got the mark on below. The reason why I got the mark on below because it's pre-market low. Boom. Pre-market high was right here. But I see where, it's another way you could do it. You see where the candlesticks are structured. I like my entry to be right here. So my entry was right above $264.20. you understand the 9-minute candlestick, this opened up right here, broke above my entry point, they ran. So this ran up at least $4 more to the upside. And then it came right back down. So we was able to, some of these you might have to be quick. So there's different scenarios. It's not going to be perfect every time. You got to have some kind of skill to do this. Went up, printed for a quick bag, came right back down. You see I have the below side in case this one a gap fill. As of right now, we are still, you see this is chopping up right now. This might end up coming back down, who knows? But we have that alert there, and we have it setting up. We got a 3-1-1 double inside. So if you ever want to know how I'm catching these setups, that's, again, hour and 30, trade price and time, let it come to you. If this ends up going 3-1-2 and breaking that pre-market low, that is another entry that can happen to go to the downside. Now let's look at one that didn't work. So Meta gap down. I've been trying to short Meta for a little while. Price action hasn't been the best. Market gap down. This is one that could have been a gap and go, but it just didn't work out, and that's fine. So y'all see I already got the alerts there. This is puts below $292.72. You'll see that it never triggered. It went right back up. This one is a little funny because there's no structure here to catch the upside. You would just have to, if you was a person that don't mind the risk and wanted a quick play back to the upside, which in the Discord, if y'all seen in my channel, I knew that we might get this kind of relief bounce, which we did. You might just have to just, this is one of those where there's no, there's no pre-market. The pre-market high is all the way up here. So this one you might just have to just get in, and that's typically risky for me. I'm not just about to get in. Here's some structure on the 5 though. So you could have used this structure on the 5. So this is a little bit more advanced. You could use this structure on the 5 to get in. Above $295. You see how that popped up. I probably would have been looking at that though. See the structure on the 5. I love chop. I love sideways action. That tells me a lot. Let's see if it sees. Look, see, you got it on the 15. So could have caught that above the 15. Wasn't looking at it. I was looking for this to also go to the downside. Didn't have anything on the 30 though. Oh, even the 30. Yeah, it did have something on the 30. So what time for now? I think that was the hour. That was straight down. Yeah, didn't have nothing on the hour, but did have a structure on the 30 and the 15. You could look for that too. Always look for structure in the pre-market. But that's the gap video. If you got any questions, if you're scared to ask in the Discord, DM me. Again, you pay a service to get help. Get the help. You can't help people that's quiet. You know, if you're struggling with something, send that DM out. It could change the spectrum of your trading journey. I'm telling you, it's people that always ask questions and they're excelling to high levels. So if you're a person that's in the shadows in the background, feel free to ask these questions, get the information, get paid. Peace.